The Raptors have been losing a ton of games as of late, and it looks like that trend is going to continue as news has come out that newly acquired point guard Immanuel Quickley is out indefinitely from this Toronto Raptors team. So we'll discuss that update, how it affects the sort of pursuit of getting that top 6 pick in this year's NBA draft. Additionally, we have 3 potential free agent targets the Raptors could go after according to a recent article this offseason. So lots of stuff to sink our teeth into in this video, but before we do, folks, again, if you're part of the 55% of viewers that are watching the channel that haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, I mean, now's the perfect time. Buy low on this Raptors team. Start sinking your teeth into Raptors news while we're down in the dumps so you can say you're a diehard. You went through hard times. You went through it all. But let's dive into what's actually going on with this team. It's basically, first bit of news is Immanuel Quickly is out indefinitely. So we have an unfortunate update for IQ. Hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully it's not too bad. But basically, Darko Rajakovic came out and said directly that there's no timetable for Immanuel Quickley's return. He's away from the team due to personal family matter. And without him, Bruce Brown, as well as Jamias Ramsey, as well as Javon Freeman-Liberty will be the Raptors' 3 primary ball handlers for now. So things continue to stockpile. Things continue to get worse for the Toronto Raptors, at least in terms of hopes of winning any basketball games, because I don't think the Raptors planned on tanking. They weren't, the Toronto Tank 2024, whatever you've been calling it. It was forced upon our team after trading away Pascal and OG Anunoby because star Scotty Barnes went down with injury, out for the season. Pirtle, down with injury, out for the season. Boucher, out for the year likely. I mean, a lot of our vets are out of this lineup here now at this point. RJ Barrett's out indefinitely as well. So Immanuel Quickley being added to this list further depletes a roster that was sort of in a retooling sort of mode, and there's really not a lot of hope for wins coming into the future. I mean, the Raptors right now, we've lost 8 straight games. The Grizzlies continue to make a push. They're trying to run at us with that top draft pick selection, and it's just kind of unfortunate that they're losing a bunch of games as well. I mean, I've been hopeful the Raptors could catch the Portland Trailblazers, get to the bottom 5, so the team really has a chance at maximizing that sort of top 4 selection. But that's basically where the Raptors are at. Expect more losses, expect more L's to pile up, and let's hope and pray the lottery balls fall in our direction this offseason. But speaking of the offseason, and I feel like this is where a lot of Raptors fans are sort of have their heads pointed to into the offseason, the free agency period. How can we retool this roster to not be as abysmal going into next year? And then Bleacher Report understands this as well. Right, as they came out and basically discussed 3 potential free agent targets for the team entering, free agency this year, and they have an interesting list going on. So basically breaking it down, the first guy they have on the list is Malik Monk, and they've discussed how there's a desire to build around Scotty Barnes now at this point, add some shooting around him here now at this point, with Scotty Barnes being the centerpiece of this team, not being the most shooting being the key factor in terms of his skill set. He certainly improved that over this year. Went a little bit down as the season went along, but Malik Monk is a bucket getter. He can come in off the bench and just be a complete microwave for your team, and he's done it on some pretty good rosters down there in Sacramento. I mean, he's only 26 years old as well, averaging 16 points per game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, shooting 36% from the 3-point line, but takes some wild ones. I mean, those are not just casual sort of spot up threes for Malik Monk. He has taken some off the dribbles, contested, sort of J.R. Smith-esque 3-point shots, and his stats have been really, really good. He's continuing to go on an upward trend, which is good to see from a younger player. I mean, the percentages have, he went from being a 3-point sort of specialist, spot-up guy in Charlotte and LA to being more of an actual shot creator with the Sacramento Kings. So even though the efficiency's gone down a little bit, he's taking tougher shots, which you want from a guy, if you're going to be bringing him in, in the offseason as a contract signing and stuff, you want him to be able to sort of create for himself. And, looking at his shots, we can see it straight up in the numbers for Malik Monk in terms of what he's taking, right? He's shooting 43% from corner threes. So if he does catch those spot up shots, he's remarkably efficient, and you can see it. Right, only 78% of his threes are assisted on, so that's not a crazy high number from some of the 3-point shooters that are there across the league, and he gets a bunch of buckets, in that 2-point range. That number's been going down because he's been more of a shot creator for the Sacramento Kings sort of team now at this point. So he can knock him down for pretty well. Everyone on the court is a pretty efficient guy, so Malik Monk would be a cool pickup, but You'll notice one thing on this list is Bleacher Report's really leaning into those 3-point shooting guards, and the Raptors are pretty loaded in these areas. Now with RJ Barrett, with we don't know what's going to happen with Gary Trent Jr. Grady Dick now is sort of a 3-point spacing wing. We have a Baji that is hopefully not going to be playing power forward next season, and had a good game yesterday, but hasn't been that great as of late since he's been acquired from the Toronto Raptors, pulling it on the defensive end, which is nice, but is a potential 3-and-D guy for this roster. The Raptors, in a lot of the two ways or the 10-day contracts that they've been picking up, in recent weeks, the Raptors are looking at a lot of these potential guards that can space the floor. We also have Bruce Brown potentially on this team in the future. I keep forgetting he's on this team. But, that's sort of a position that's filled. But we know it's a position Masai Ujiri's trying to fill up and find a long-term fit. Malik Monk could be an interesting fit. The other interesting guy on this list is Klay Thompson, listed as a potential target for the Toronto Raptors. Thompson doesn't bring in as much off the dribble as Monk, but he's clearly on the decline, but he's also the most robust. My goodness, can I read? But he also has a more robust history as a 3-point shooter. The screen is too far away from my eyes. I'm not wearing my contacts, but Klay Thompson, again, his stats, they've been on the decline now here as of late, but averaging 17 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists for the Golden State Warriors. He's playing a little bit better as the season's gone along. There was a lot of questions about him being completely washed, this offseason, but I think the Raptors would have to really overpay him in order to keep him on the roster. 38% is still good from the 3-point line, but down from where he's been over the course of his career. But again, Klay Thompson is a dude that knocks down threes at a very, very high clip. So, Klay, cool to bring in. Probably not at the money that he'd be interested in acquiring to potentially leave Golden State. But the last name on that list is Buddy Hield, who I don't even really want to dive into his stats too much. I don't really want to sink my teeth into this because Bleacher Report says Hield is one of the greatest 3-point shooters in NBA history. With him, Olenek, and 1 or 2 other high-end floor spacers flanking Barnes, the young playmaker would have much wider driving lanes to attack. Fair enough. But if the Raptors weren't interested in bringing in Buddy Hield during that Pascal Siakam trade, I don't think there's a world where he actually ends up coming to the Toronto Raptors in free agency, or they're willing to spend big money on him. If the Raptors, they could have had him basically for free at this year's. We also have War on this team, another sort of shooting guard that I think has some potential. I don't know. I don't think if the Raptors didn't acquire him in the Pascal Siakam trade, I don't think Buddy Hield's going to end up coming to the Toronto Raptors here now at this point. I don't think the interest is actually that high in bringing in Buddy Hield, who's 31 years old himself. He's sneaky old here now in the NBA. I guess shooters have a long lifespan, though, so that's just how it goes. But the Raptors, I think if want a quick turnaround, if the team wants to be in a position where they can get back to fighting for a playoff spot, being in that contention sort of status next season, they need to beef up that sort of 4-man position. Get a couple more athletic defenders out there in the front court. We have a lot of shooting in the back court. We have a lot of shooting on this team around Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. Pirtle's also there, but bring in a guy that's a 4 that can defend, can space the floor, do those things out there in the front line, and that's sort of what the Raptors need at this point. But let me know what you guys think about those 3 potential free agent targets in the comment section down below. You guys are the best to make it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I'm signing out. Cheers.